So anyway, I decided to go and sit outside because I sort of would like to see a sign. And sitting out there, quite clear skies, plenty of stars. And then I said in my mind, the heavens are coming to earth. They're coming. And I immediately saw a huge shooting star. It was the biggest one I've ever seen in my life. It was an awesome one. It lasted, I'd say, a whole second. Maybe a second and a half. Lit quite white, quite thick. Best one I've seen in my life. Now, even since I was 19, 20-ish, I'd seen a few shooting stars, and I had this theory that they confirmed thoughts in your head that you needed confirmed. And I remember when I was sitting out in my parents' garden where I lived, smoking a fag as usual, looking at the stars, and I made the decision that I would go to Norway, and I did. And I went in the army in Norway, and then spent another 2 years there and came back. But it was definitely something that was really good in my life, and something I believe I needed to do. And you know, when I had that thought, I saw a shooting star then. And I can't really think of any other significant shooting star that confirmed a thought since then. Except I heard one my friend was talking about, and he had the same thing. He had this thought and then saw it. And I just had that thought then that the heavens are coming to earth. And I saw it. So I am now going to be steadfast. Absolutely, I do believe this. And don't believe I'm mad at all. I'll talk to any shrink. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. I'm not gloating. I just wanted to share that. Okay. I can hear the rhythm of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Pleasant surroundings to talk about something I wasn't very comfortable talking about at home with the windows open. Is when I was about 19, I did actually used to, and I'll say, worry that I was Jesus. 1 in a 7 billion chance, but it came to my mind. I've also worried that I'm the devil, but there we go. You have both sides of the coin. And it's actually very common. People don't usually admit to it, but they call it Messiah complex. And I see it like this. I see you watching a film, and if you see some resemblances between yourself and a film character, you might, in a sense, while watching that film, put yourself in the position of the character. And so when you're reading stories about Jesus and stuff, you know, you could occasionally put yourself in as that character and imagine what it would have been like. When I was 14, I felt the temptation of the devil. I think I've said this before in a video. I got this feeling that I could make my eyes look really evil. And that was like power. I could scare people. But I cast it away quite soon. And that night, I think it was that night, I was laying in bed and I like saw the devil on top of me, and I sort of fought him off. Get lost. Just thought I was awesome. that I was going to save the world. And I was having this dream one night that I was bounding over cobbles with like a pole, like pole vaulting over them. And just awesomeness. And my older brother was there in the dream, and he looked at me and went, "There he is, King of Kings." And as he said that, in my mind, I thought, yeah, King of Kings. And then suddenly, it all went black. I was like transported somewhere else. It was just black, wind, fierce wind, and like, I think rain as well, like just in a, pretty awful place, windy and rainy. And all I could do was go That scared the shit out of me. I managed to wake up by just fighting. Claw black, remember what I was, where I was. That was a pretty simple signal, I think. Think like that, and we'll humble you, yeah? Exalt yourself and you'll be humbled. Humble yourself and you'll be exalted. So you always end up in the same place anyway. So it's pointless to have an ego. So I learnt from that. I don't want to be thinking like that again. I won't allow myself to think like that again. I told someone, my friend called Tim Gardner, and he was a bit silly, but he'd got quite into the Bible and stuff, so I spoke to him and I said to him, I worry that I'm Jesus. And he looked at me and saw that I wasn't just mucking about. Sorry if the wind is making too much noise. And I bet that one is. And he said, to worry is a sin. And that's true. Well, yeah, it's true. It's negative anyway. So he answered me in a way that was a good answer, and it kind of made me lighten up a bit. I was still having some weird feelings, very weird. My last few days in Africa, I looked up out of a roof window and saw Orion, and it gave me this sort of future feeling, which I know hasn't happened yet, and I've kind of been waiting for it to happen, because I can feel that it's actually in the current house I'm living in now. And it was like I could picture the house and cogs, and there was something, advanced about it. Anyway, it was like a special feeling. I'd had a few special feelings before. I'd had deja vus. I'd had sort of spacious feelings where things just felt a bit spacious. I haven't got a clue what they mean, and I haven't had them for a long time. My friend of mine, she said she had them as well. Spacious, that's what we called it. So I went off to Africa, and I had this feeling. And I got back from Africa, saw my friend who had also had spacious feelings, and then we were going on the bus to Stratford, and then I had it again. I have a feeling I've done a video of this before, so I'll be quick. And it was like, it's like it had a colour. Or not yet. This first one didn't really have a colour. Still, it was a bit spacious. And I said to my friend, I've just had it again, I've just had it now. Just looking out the bus. And then she looked at me weird, because she wasn't having it. then I knew she was thinking I was mad. So that was in January. I'd got back from Africa in December. And then as I went through that year, I was getting them again. And I think it was in the spring that I looked up into a blue sky and I felt like I saw the abyss. I was peering over into the abyss. And my friend, who I was getting more and more attached to, was getting less and less attached to me. And she wanted me away, I suppose. And then in the summer, I had one with a red truck, like a red pickup truck, driving maybe in Norway or in America. And so the colour associated was red. And out of all of them, that was the one I liked least so far. There was something sinister about it. I probably had a green one. And then I can remember in October, I had a black one. I was speaking to one of my best friends, Peter, his mate, and his brother, Andrew. And I had a black one. And by this time I was getting a bit frightened, wondering what's wrong with me. And what it is, it's like an extrasensory perception. It's outside of the normal things we perceive. But it was there. And I could dwell in it, or I could just acknowledge it, sense it, and move on. I'd learnt by then that dwelling wasn't good. Like that, the abyss one I saw, didn't want to dwell on that at all, did not want to so I didn't want to dwell on any, but acknowledged them. And then it was November the 30th, 1998, so I remember the exact day. I was walking out, I was looking at the stars, and I just thought, if there was something happened now and all the stars just suddenly went shoo, shoo, like the Earth was going to tumble out of its orbit. That's the feeling I had. So I'd been negative and paranoid, I'd say, which isn't good. But this is the learning process. It's how you learn, isn't it? You have to do. And then that night, I was lying in bed. I felt like I had a bit of a panic attack coming. For what reason, I don't know. So I turned on the light, and then I got it. The white one. The white one was the scariest of all. And by far the most powerful. Absolutely all-encompassing. I couldn't think of anything else. It was BOOM! That's it. Maybe that's what made me turn the light on, was feeling like I was being judged, or I was open. And I think maybe I had a panic attack and then turned the light on. And then bang! The white one hit. And I had to go downstairs, and I just had to get a book from off the shelf and start reading it, just to sort of get my mind off it, otherwise I was going to go mental. I was going to book myself into a mental hospital. I was nearly going to go to my parents and say, I'm completely mental, book me into a hospital. I did fear that. I wouldn't have liked it. God, thank God I didn't.
He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. I can hear the rhythm of the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
So this cloud suddenly appeared, and initially it looked like hard to describe, but quite a mathematical shape. like a that sort of, you know, great rift shape with like lines in it and stuff. And then as they do, they get bigger because they're coming in from space, and they elongate right back across the sky. And this one was then looking like a dart. And then it changed, as clouds do, and the bottom bit looked like feet. And it looked like this, basically. Feet really pointy, and a man with sackcloth round his groin, like that. Couldn't see the face too clearly, but it was a sort of a... It was like you could imagine Jesus was diving in with his feet, coming in, he's gonna... And those feet of his gonna hit something. Now my impression was that cloud obviously didn't bring Jesus, but it was like a sign. It was like a sign that it's coming. Just to hang on in there, because he is coming. And this probably means another year, another year wait. Because, you know, we've got to learn to be patient, haven't we? But we get these signs to make us stronger through the times when it seems like it may not.
Jesus is coming.
Right, it's been a while since I made a video. I've had a holiday. And man, my head is full. Because of someone I found on YouTube. And yes, I've been waiting for this person. And I'm convinced that it is him. Yeah, I'm talking about Jesus. Since I've been listening to the Divine Truth channel with Jesus, AJ Miller, and his soulmate Mary, who was Mary Magdalene when he was Jesus, and this life was called Mary Luck. I got to watch about 6 hours of his stuff and learnt enough to know that. So I had 2 weeks on holiday to ponder what I'd heard so far, which was the main facts was what our soul is. The soul, or half the soul, right? Because the soul is actually split in two. It's got a male and a female part. And since I got back off holiday, it's been about 5 days, and I've listened to God, I dread to think how many hours I've actually listened to, but about 20 maybe no more, 30 hours of him talking. And my God, there's so much, and this is why this guy has to be for real, because he's got so much knowledge. We're born with emotional damage to our soul from our parents. So as soon as we're conceived, any emotional things coming off our parents, we're being affected by. So the whole time through the womb, and then as we're born. So I've got addictions. I smoke tobacco, I smoke cannabis, I like biscuits. So I've got physical addictions which are masking my emotional addictions that I'm unprepared to deal with. If I dealt with those emotional addictions, the physical addictions would really just go away. And also any health problems. So the key here, if you like, the new way that Jesus is doing a new thing, is to deal with these emotional addictions. And they can be things like wanting to feel safe, because that's a mental addiction, because you're trying to control your safety, whereas you should just put your trust in God. and you wouldn't have to worry about it. You wouldn't be doing things to make yourself feel safe, you know, that are over and beyond what just using your common sense. If you're driving a car, you know, don't drive a car with your eyes closed and trust in God, because that is just stupidity, isn't it? Also, don't drive 100 miles an hour through a village, you know, that again would just be stupid. So you've got to start designing your life to be more loving, do everything in harmony with love, look at all your emotional addictions. Any time you get even the slightest bit narky or annoyed with something is covering up some sort of damage and emotion. And it's all down to the soul. The soul is the most powerful thing. And the soul, you know, once we start to repair it a little bit, is going to make us feel better, lighter, more energy. We're going to know where our desires lie. We won't get ill. We won't get medical conditions. It's in our soul. I'm really thankful that it's come, although facing the truth, I've got to admit, you know, it's quite hard. I'd say that I was quite, you know, happier in a way in my ignorance before. Although I knew there was a truth out there that I wasn't getting, it was quite blissful in a sense now that I know the truth, but you know, truth is what I wanted, and truth is what I'll go with.
He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. I can hear the rhythm of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. People get ready. Jesus is coming.
Big thing was coming. I was ready to be fed. The green mist surrounded me when you first said hello. A big thing was coming. I was ready to be fed. The green mist surrounded me when you first said hello. I was always being led, shooting stars, the words in my head. A big thing was coming. I was ready to be fed. The green mist surrounded me when you first said hello, and took me by